Is this really worth $250? Well, hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Emmett and today I am going to give you my full review of the FTZ Adapter, which allows you to put your Nikon F-mount lenses onto Z cameras. Now, Nikon has actually released a second version of the FTZ adapter at this point, and my review is of the first version since that is the one that I have here. However, I will at the end of this share my thoughts about the second version from what I have seen of it as well. Nikon has been using the F-mount since its introduction in 1959, but they changed to the Z-mount for their mirrorless line. Now, with the FTZ adapter, they say that you can make use of around 360 older lenses. So, is this adapter actually any good, and is it worth the price? Well, to answer that, in this video, I will go over the design and build quality of the adapter, the image quality when you're using it, and the price and the value. And I will share my thoughts on how all of that stacks up and how it compares to their new second version. So first off, the build quality. To be honest, I am not a fan of the design of this. The adapter seems to be very well made. It's all metal and it's weather sealed, so it should hold up really well. So from an actual build quality standpoint, it's very good. But the design of this is a bit weird. So let me show you what I mean. Down here on the bottom part of the adapter under the lens, so it goes on this way, is this little section that hangs down a bit and it has a tripod mount on it. The thinking behind this, I assume, was that if you added on the inch and a half thickness that this is to your camera behind the lens, that you were going to need to move the tripod mount forward a little bit in order to balance things better. But with most lenses, you just don't. On top of that, this hangs down a bit below the camera, so if you don't have a tripod plate on your camera and you sit it down, then it just doesn't sit flat anymore. Instead it rocks back and forth in the middle. And if you do have a tripod plate and it hangs out over the front of the bottom edge of the camera, then you have to take it off in order to put this adapter on, because this will bump on it. And then you have to put the plate back onto the adapter since it hangs down, and then put that on your tripod. That's not a problem with all tripod plates, but in case that is how it is for you, it can be a major nuisance. But certainly there's a good reason for this weird design, right? Well, I'm not convinced that there is, not only from my own personal experience with it, but also from the fact that the FTZ II that Nikon announced around the same time as the Z9 doesn't have that little extension. It's just completely round on the bottom. They removed it so there would be room to use the lower grip on the Z9, but that also suggests to me that it just wasn't really that necessary in the first place. But that really is my main complaint with the adapter itself. As we move on to the image quality, things do improve very significantly because the results while using this adapter are excellent. Now, I do not have any particularly high quality f-mount lenses because the Nikon Z6ii is my first really kind of expensive camera. My older lenses are 2 kit lenses and a cheap prime that I got for the D3100, which is also not a full frame camera. I was initially though only buying one Z lens, the 24 to 200 millimeter lens, and so I wanted to be able to adapt my older lenses when I got the new camera, as well as to leave the door open for buying more older used f-mount lenses to use on the Z6 II. And I am very happy to say that despite the weirdness of the design, the FTZ adapter performs very well. Nikon claims on their website essentially that your f-mount lenses will perform as well or better when adapted to Z cameras, and that the lenses retain all of their quality but gain additional features from the newer mirrorless camera. And because of the camera body difference between my Z6 II and the D3100, it's really kind of hard to evaluate that claim, but I am inclined to agree with them. The photos taken with the same lens on the Z6 II are very significantly better, and in fact the 18 to 55 millimeter very cheap kit lens that came with my D3100, which always took terrible photos to the point that I totally stopped using it, actually performs decently well when it's adapted onto the Z6 II. Before, it always seemed to kind of miss the focus, but when it's on the newer camera body, it actually picks up the focus even with this adapter on there. It's not amazing still, but it's better. Using a good lens though, everything looks nice and sharp. The autofocus works very well still with the adapter, just as you would expect it to. I haven't noticed any sorts of increase in chromatic aberration or anything like that from adding that extra space in there. Now, using an adapted lens compared to a native one, when I use a native lens, it seems just a little bit quicker to respond to me. The autofocus is just a touch faster, but for most cases, I don't think that the adapted lens will really be slowed down enough to make any difference in your photography. Now, I do want to give you a word of caution if you are adapting a DX f-mount lens to a full-frame body. So not a full-frame lens onto a full-frame body like I did. And that is that when you put them on the adapter, you force the camera to switch to DX mode, which significantly reduces the image size. On the Z6 II, it takes it from a 10 megapixel photo down to a 24 megapixel photo. And that is because the image from the smaller lenses just doesn't cover the whole sensor. That is not the fault of the adapter, and I won't go into reasons why you might or might not want to adapt those cropped lenses onto a full-frame camera. But if you're looking to make that switch, I just wanted to remind you if you happen to be going to full-frame and mirrorless at the same time, which, by the way, is a great switch. Highly recommend it. But if you do that, be aware that your older lenses will take smaller photos. Now, the price of this adapter is another kind of complaint for me because it is being sold at $250, which in my opinion is quite high. Yes, it's very solid, it works very well, but it's an adapter. It's some metal with electronic pass-throughs on it. Now, I got mine as part of a bundle with the camera body for $100, and that seems like a much more reasonable price to me. You can also buy these used, and there's nothing on it to scratch or break like with lenses, so that could be a good way to go as well. But I don't think I can really recommend paying full price for this. The $250 is the price of a lens, and so unless you have a lot of really good f-mount lenses that you want to convert, I just don't think that this is worth $250. So I would recommend you look for them cheaper somewhere else. Now, what about the FTZ II? Well, as I mentioned before, it seems to be essentially the same as the original version, except that it is smaller and lighter, and they corrected the design. It's now just round and fits right at the base of your lens like you would expect an adapter to. At present, these are new, so they're not in stock most places, and they haven't hit the used market yet. So if you think that you're going to use the adapter a lot and want the better design, maybe you're going to wait a while before you buy the adapter, or if you're buying it for the Z9, then I would go ahead and go for the newer one. But otherwise, I would say save the money and try to find a used or bundled deal on this slightly weirdly shaped one. So that is the FTZ adapter. It's a bit expensive, overpriced even, but it's the best at what it's for. The image quality is completely unaffected by putting the adapter behind the lens, so if you want to put some F-mount lenses on your Z camera, I highly recommend it. If you're bringing lenses from an older camera body, you might even see some improvement by putting them on the new camera. Anyway, that is all for this video. So if you did enjoy it, don't forget to hit the like button on your way out and to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss more videos that I am very excited to share with you in the future. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.